So there's so much information out there about ketogenic dieting and ketones. What's a myth that you've heard maybe over and over and over that you're like, today is the day to debunk this myth?
Oh my goodness, I've heard so many of them. The one that I've heard about 4 or 5 times is somebody will come in and say that their doctor, their cardiologist, their specialist told them that this high-fat diet is going to kill them and that they're not allowed to do it.
Don't fear fat. The most important thing is people think, well, if they eat fat, they're going to get fat. That's the misperception. So you're cutting the sugar, you're not smoking, you're getting out, you're enjoying life, you're going to be feeling better.
Eating fat doesn't make you fat. Eating fat will not kill you. A high-fat diet and low carb at the same time, though, you've got to take the carbs down, will not contribute to elevated cholesterol levels.
It's not the sour cream and the butter on the potatoes, it's the potato that actually becomes blood sugar.
Yeah.
So what you really got to think is, you cut back on the potatoes, the bread, overall the grains, and obviously the sugar that's in the soda.
It's somewhat tangential, but the low salt diet myth is just totally wrong, and that's been great because I love salt. And another thing is just fatty foods. You know, my background is Italian. These foods that, you know, have been in my family for thousands of years that just got trashed during the last 30 years to find that they're really not bad for you, they're actually healthy for you is pretty amazing, and it's just really cool. It's almost like a bonding experience with my cultural background.
Well, one of the biggest myths in the ketone space, I think, is that there's no additional benefit to taking ketones when you are ketogenic dieting. And I do think that actually there are benefits. Number one is that when you're ketogenic dieting, you're under a lot of stress. Sometimes that kicks you out of ketosis. You know, you don't want to skip a beat when you're kicked out. Number two, there's synergistic effects of taking ketones with a ketogenic diet. So I think they can work together in harmony to optimize the diet.
If you're in ketosis, even if you're in deep dietary ketosis, you still have plenty of glycogen in your muscles, first of all. And secondly, there are real advantages with respect to muscle and ketones.
So Ryan and I, we were presenting one time to a big group of researchers, and they told us that same thing. Like, you can't build muscle if you're on a ketogenic diet because you don't have any carbs. And so we went out and did the research on that, and we actually found that on a ketogenic diet, you gain just as much muscle at a whole body level, and we looked at the molecular level, we found the same thing.
So our lab has shown that ketones themselves increase muscle protein synthesis. So that's one part of the spectrum. The other part is muscle protein breakdown, what happens when we get older, what happens when we tear up muscle tissue. It's also been shown that ketones prevent a lot of that muscle protein breakdown from happening. So it's really favoring that right side component of building muscle and being anabolic to tissue that needs it the most.
The ketogenic diet, exogenous ketones, that it's a fad right now. And so I hear all the time, oh, that's a fad diet, or that's a fad supplement. Maybe it is a fad because it works. Maybe it's working and so it's becoming popular.